Zodiacal course by Samael Aun Weor. Dedication. We dedicate this course of esoteric education to humanity, and very especially to all those disillusioned of schools, religions, lodges and sects. Theirs is this course of intimate self-education and true practical knowledge. There are two types of knowledge, the eye doctrine and the heart doctrine. The eye doctrine is for those who are satisfied with spiritual theories, and the heart doctrine is for authentic initiates. To the eye doctrine belong all the members of the so-called spiritual schools, and as variable is their concept as is the opinion of writers. To the heart doctrine belong all the masters of the universal white fraternity, because within it is enclosed the primeval truths of this unique knowledge. One comes to us through deduction, and the other through intuition. The former is produced by the intellect, and the latter by the internal master. One is human, the other is divine. The eye doctrine strengthens the mind. Because of it, the mind is the abode of desire. She thinks, reasons, analyzes, draws conclusions, and leads to aired action. She wants to resolve everything by herself, without taking into consideration the voice of the internal master. The internal master does not analyze or reason because his voice is the voice of intuition. The heart doctrine opens the doors to the hail of knowledge. Schools have already given all they had to offer. The centers of knowledge are now converted to business places, each with its tyrant that forbids its adepts and students to go out in search of knowledge, the prohibitions here, the excommunications and threats there, always leaving things for tomorrow, making a big issue out of the password, the protective amulet, the non plus ultra, of the secrets that no other school possesses. We are not looking for flatterers of masters, nor are we interested in hard-hearted henchmen. We are guiding pillars. We indicate with logical thought and exact concept the path to follow, so that each person arrives at his internal master, he who lives in silence within each of you. We inform you that knowledge belongs to the inner self and that virtues and gifts are not a matter of false pretense and false humility, but that they are terrible realities that convert us into powerful and gigantic oaks, so that the frailties of the mind, the threats of black magicians, the envy of tyrants can shatter against our strong personality. This course is for all the rebels of all schools, for those who do not believe in masters, for those dissatisfied with all beliefs, for those who still have left in them a little manhood and a spark of love. We are not interested in anyone's money, nor are we interested in monthly fees, or brick temples, of cement or clay, because we are conscious visitors in the cathedral of the soul, and we know that wisdom is of the soul. Flattery tires us, praises should only belong to our Father, who is in secret, and watches us minutely. We are not in search of followers, we only want each person to follow himself, his own internal master, his sacred inner self, because he is the only one that can save and glorify us. I do not follow anyone, therefore no one should follow me. Men offer human knowledge in God, the bread of life. The truth shall set you free. We do not want more comedies, pretenses, nor false mysticisms and false schools. Now we want living realities. We want to prepare ourselves to see, hear and touch the reality of those truths. Let us take the sword of our will to break all the links of the world and launch ourselves head-on to a terrible battle for liberation, because we know that salvation is within man. Samael Aun Weor. Aries. From the 21 of March to the 19 of April. Rules: the head. Metal: iron. Stone: ruby and diamond. Perfume: myrrh. Plant: the oak. Flower: the red carnation. Planet: Mars. Color: red. Element: fire. Keyword: action. Day: Tuesday. Ruler: Samael. Beloved disciple. On entering these studies of esoteric astrology, I should give you a few prior instructions that will serve as positive orientation in these classes. In the stellar nucleus of all sidereal sun, planet, every lunar satellite or comet, there always exists a heart temple, which is the secret dwelling of a sidereal genie. Thus, the entire infinite is a system of hearts. This is why esoteric astrology is the religion of light and the heart. Each of our sidereal planets has its sidereal ruler. Gabriel is the ruler of the moon. Raphael is the ruler of Mercury. Uriel is the ruler of Venus. Michael is the ruler of the Sun. Samael is the ruler of Mars. Zachariel is the ruler of Jupiter. Oriphiel is the ruler of Saturn. These are the 7 spirits before the throne of God. As we have already said, each of them dwells in a heart temple, and because of it, esoteric astrology is the religion of light and love. These are the 7 angels who distribute among them the governing of the world in 7 different eras, since the entire history of the world is summarized in 7 eras. The 7 planets are the chords of a divine lyre, where the word of the Creator resounds with its most ineffable melody. The entire solar system happens to be the celestial body of the Great Being, the logos of the solar system, the ineffable. The solar system seen from afar looks like a man walking through the ineffable infinite. The 7 spirits before the throne happen to be, we can say, their ministers and the rulers of the cosmic evolution of this solar system. Very well, thou know that every will has its axis, and because of this, thou will, therefore, understand that the base of motion resides at the center of every mass. Mass can only be dominated from its center, and the center of all mass is the spirit. Due to this, we affirm that a heart temple, which is the dwelling of the genie of the star, exists in every sidereal center. These celestial genii are precisely the authentic governors of the infinite, and rulers and lords of our own human destinies. Profane astrologers will tell you, for example, that a quadrature of Saturn with Mars brings you a catastrophe, or that an opposition of Venus and Mars, a failure in love, etc. But these forecasts by profane astrology can fail even when the mathematical calculations are exact, because these sidereal forces are not blind forces. These forces are precisely the rays of the planetary genii, and these masters can modify all human events even when the horoscope is full of quadratures and oppositions. So that arithmetic astrology is not exact, for which reason I consider that one cannot be an authentic astrologer without being a magician in alchemy. Lamblichus, the great magician, invoked the planetary genii and materialized them in the physical world to talk to them, and it was through them that he accomplished his great marvels. Divine magic can only be practiced through the inner self of the magician, and the inner self is our spirit, our superior self, our angel. It is also true that nature is a great alchemical laboratory where essences exist and events of all types are combined. In the schools of inner instruction, we are made to learn these golden rules. The lion of the law is combated with the scale. When an inferior law is transcended by a superior law, the superior law washes away the inferior law. The absolute comprehension of these 2 golden rules allows us to neutralize the disastrous effects of all the quadratures and oppositions of our personal horoscope. This means that through these golden rules we can destroy karma, and we can triumph in life. Record these 2 golden rules properly in your mind, for I will teach you how to manipulate its formulae in the coming lessons. This course of esoteric astrology will convert you into magicians and alchemists, and will develop all your occult powers. Thou shalt then know how to make thyself invisible, how to invoke and materialize the planetary gods in the physical world, how to talk with them, how to kill karma, and the secret art of succeeding in life through certain mysterious formulae that will permit thee to manipulate the sidereal rays for thy own ends and to help others. Now, to end this preamble of our present lesson, I will tell thee that 2 columns exist at the door, portico, of all sidereal time, one white and the other black. The column at the right is called Jachin, and the left column is called Boaz. You should also know, good disciple, that there is a guardian at each column. The guardian at the right column holds the staff of justice in his hands, and the one at the left holds a book in his hands. Jachin and Boaz are the 2 passwords that will permit thee to enter the heart temple of each star to manipulate rays and provoke events in the physical world. Beloved disciple, we now enter in full into our esoteric teachings of the constellation of Aries. This zodiacal sign governs the head, is the house of the warrior Mars, iron is its metal, ruby its stone, and fire is its nature. Due to this, the natives of Aries are of warlike nature, become strongly angered, and since they possess a great Martian energy, they feel capable of embarking on great undertakings, and they take them to a good end. In general, they are not happy in love, since the easy instability they possess leads them into displeasures and marital separations. During this sign, the disciple will have to charge his head with light to awaken his pituitary and pineal glands. The power of clairvoyance resides in these two small glands. Both glands are joined by an extremely fine duct, which has already disappeared in corpses. When both glands intermingle their luminous auras, man becomes clairvoyant, and then perceives all the marvels of the subtle world. He will then know all the secrets, thoughts of men and women, and will be able to see and talk to the sidereal gods. Who will be able to hide his secret away from him? An enlightened clairvoyant is full of light and fire. The exercises of this sign are the following. Exercise. The disciple should sit on a comfortable chair and remain thoughtless for 5 minutes. He should then pray to his inner self as follows. Father, you who are my true being, I beg that you transport yourself to the main star of the constellation of Aries, to bring the principal genie of that constellation to this humble house, so that he may heal my brain and awaken all the occult powers of my head. Then, with interlaced hands above his heart, the disciple will make a small bow of the head saluting the guardian, the right column, inhaling deeply, as in a sigh, and immediately pronounces the password, Jackim. Immediately, he will make an identical salute to the guardian on the left and pronounce the password, Boaz. He will once again pray to his inner self like this, Father, take the 7 sacred steps within, towards the interior of the temple, and kneel down at the feet of the principal genie of Aries, begging him to come and awaken the powers of my brain, and to flood my head with light. Then the disciple pronounces the mantra, Aum. This mantra is pronounced properly opening the mouth with the vowel A, rounding it off with the vowel O, and closing it with the letter M, like this Aum. This mantra is pronounced 4 times with the intention that the light flood our entire brain. Next, the disciple will stand up, extend his right hand forward and move his head 7 times forward, 7 times backwards, 7 rotations to the right and 7 times to the left, with the intention that light flood and act within all the glands of the brain. The pineal gland is influenced by Mars and the pituitary by Venus. The pituitary produces sleepiness and the pineal gland incites us to fight, and in this manner, while Venus wants to sleep, Mars wants to continue fighting. During this sign, the disciple should vocalize daily for 1 hour, the vowel I like this. E. This vowel will cause your pineal gland to vibrate, and finally you will become clairvoyant. Developed, the pineal gland converts us into supermen, and atrophied, it converts us into idiots. It is found developed in the chaste and atrophied in fornicators. Therefore, good disciple, if you want to convert thyself into an angel, thou art totally prohibited from all coitus. The pineal gland is the window of Brahma, a fountain of accumulation for the magician, and the disciple should practice before going to bed nightly, this other exercise. Sit on a comfortable chair, during half an hour. Close your eyes. Remove all thought from your mind. Then, imagine that the fire from the constellation of Aries descends from heaven, and penetrates in the igneous columns through your pineal gland. This gland is situated in the superior portion of the brain, and the power to see the ultra of all things resides in it. If the disciple carries out the exercises of Aries with tenacity and constancy, he will become an enlightened clairvoyant. During these exercises, the disciple will be assisted by the hierarchies of Aries, and they will awaken his powers and heal his brain with special treatments. The disciple will also be able to use the power of those hierarchies to heal others. Aries is the house of Mars, and Mars is the planet of war. The red hierarchies of Mars gave man the astral body. Samael is the supreme chief of the astral plane, he and his warriors. Meditating daily on the Tattva Tejas, we activate the powers of the astral body. The Tattva Tejas or igneous ether is the cause causorum of all flame. The astral plane is the ardent world. Taurus. From the 20th of April to the 20th of May. Rules: the neck, nape and ears. Metal: copper. Stone: emerald and agate. Perfume: aromatic herb. Plant: birch. Flower: thorned. Planet: Venus. Color: green. Element: earth. Key word: love. Day: Friday. Ruler: Uriel. Beloved disciple. In the past lecture I promised I would give thee the clues of these two golden rules. The lion of the law is combated with the scales. When an inferior law is transcended by a superior law, the superior law washes away the inferior law. The solution to these two golden rules is found in a third, which says, "Do good deeds to pay your debts." Very well, now imagine a scale. On one pan lie your good deeds and, on the other, your bad deeds and your corresponding karma. If the karmic pan is inclined against you, then you will be able to fight it by placing more weight on the pan of good deeds, and then thou shalt incline the scale in thy favor, and thus kill karma. A temple of the lords of karma exists in the subtle world, and the jackal is great chief of these judges of destiny. This great being is supreme judge of the cosmic tribunal. He has the appearance of a great man with the head of a jackal. When we have accumulated capital in the cosmic bank, we pay our debts and avoid pain. Those who live daily making new deposits to the cosmic bank will always have something with which to pay their old debts. In this matter of paying debts, one should always keep in mind the law of analogies and of correspondences. The karmic analogies are fought with dharmic analogies. Karma and dharma, these two oriental terms mean punishment and reward. In a more philosophical form we would say, bad action and bad consequence, and modifying the causes, one modifies the effects, since the effects are nothing else but causes reproduced in another form. Are you going to be made a prisoner? Give freedom to another. Is your son going to die? Heal your fellow man. Are you in misery? Give all that you have left to the hungry and sacrifice all your efforts in favor of others. Beg in prayer to the lords of karma and you will be heard. Do not forget, beloved disciple, that justice is the supreme mercy and impiety of the law. So I have already taught you the two golden rules, and I have explained to you how to kill karma. In the following lessons I will be teaching you how to manage the sidereal rays. He who has, receives, and the more he gives, the more he receives, that is the law. But those who do works of evil shall be victims of their own deeds. Why do people suffer? Why do they blaspheme against God if human suffering is not God's fault? We ourselves are the creators of our own destiny. Sanctify thyself, beloved disciple, sanctify thyself. There are three eternal things in life, the law, nirvana, and space. Now, let us begin explaining the exercises of the constellation of Taurus. The cortege of stars that form the constellation of Taurus is the house of Venus, the ineffable star of love, the break of dawn, and consequently, Taurus is of Venusian nature. Taurines are of amorous and Venusian nature due to this. They love much and love and always pass through great deceptions. Taurines are tame and industrious like the bull, that symbolizes that group of stars, but, at times, they are also aggressive like the bull. They are tenacious and gluttons, romantic and sensual. They love music, dance and beauty. They have an ability for all types of manual arts. Taurus rules the larynx and the neck. The larynx is also a sexual uterus where the verb is born. The creative larynx will be the sexual organ of the future divine humanity. The sexual fire of the Kundalini becomes a creator in the word. In our works titled The Perfect Matrimony, The Revolution of Bel, and Treatise of Occult Medicine, and Practical Magic, we already have extensively spoken about the Kundalini, and we taught the great arcanum, or supreme secret for the awakening of the asleep princess of the Kundalini. The verb is intimately related with the four elements of nature, and due to this, the initiates of the ancient temples of mystery were prohibited from talking about the old catastrophes of ancient Arcadia in fear that they would bring them back into existence. The ancient hierophants knew too well that the verb is related to the four elements of nature, and that talking about a catastrophe is as much as evoking it again. For this reason, the initiates never spoke publicly about the archaic cataclysms. A hard word follows us and later falls upon him who pronounced it, like a ray of vengeance. One does not only fornicate with the sexual act, there is another kind of fornication with the verb. The improper use of words is also fornication. Fornication with the verb creates astral larvae and misfortunes. It hurts to see how people abuse the verb and fill the world with pain. Slander is the worst of all blasphemies. One should achieve in oneself the perfection of the verb and language. One should comprehend the responsibility of the verb. One should learn to use the sexual organ of the verb. Do you not feel the need to learn how to use the verb? Listen to me, beloved disciple. We, the members of the Sacred College of Initiates, can create anything with thought and materialize it with the verb. Be careful in mentioning names and surnames, because that is slander. If you are a philosopher, fight theories, but never talk about the private lives of its leaders. When one talks about a leader, talk about his doctrine, but never mention his private life. Each one is each one, and no one should care about the private life of others. To talk when one should keep silence is as bad as keeping silence when one should talk. There are times when talking is a crime, and there are times when silence is another crime. There are criminal silences and also infamous words. One should talk when he shouldn't be silent when he should be silent. One should achieve in oneself the perfection of the verb. One should achieve in oneself the wisdom of the verb. People have lost notion of sincerity. Nowadays, human words do not carry the substance of sincerity, and people suffer due to the lack of sincerity. Today, human words are full of falsehood and hypocrisy. Do you know what false words are? Fraudulent words create monsters. Have you ever seen the birth of a monstrous child? That is the karma of the false word pronounced in previous lifetimes. We admire very much the substance of sincerity. A liar could never arrive at our white island. In this course, we have arrived at the constellation of Taurus. This sign governs the neck, and a new struggle between Venus and Mars repeats itself here. Venus governs the thyroid gland and Mars governs the parathyroids. It is an eternal struggle between Venus and Mars. While some glands produce saliva, others dry it. This struggle takes place in all of our organism. Venus is related to love and Mars to war. The astrologer should learn how to use the sparkle of the stars. Do you know of any home where bitterness reigns? Do you want to serve disinterestedly? Do you know of a poor woman abandoned in misery by a suitor? Do you want to help her? Listen to me well, beloved disciple, for I will teach you how to use the sparkle of Venus. Sit in a comfortable chair. Close your eyes. Set aside all earthly thought from your mind and focus your thought on your internal master, praying like this. Prayer. Dear Father, you who art my true being, I beg you with all my heart, and with all my soul, that you penetrate in the heart temple of the star of Venus so that you may kneel at the feet of Uriel, and ask of him the following favor. One asks for the favor one desires. Then, the disciple mentally salutes the guardian at the right column, will take a deep breath, and pronounce the password Jachin. Next, he will do the same with the guardian at the left column and pronounces the password, Boaz, in other words, first. The deep breath, then he will pray to his internal master telling him, Lord, take the 7 steps into the temple to make the petition. My Father, my Lord, my God. Once the petition has been made, one asks Uriel with one's whole heart for a choir of angels to accomplish the work. Singing, they create. If the angel of Venus grants our petition, the choir of angels, who are his sons, and live with him in the temple of the nucleus of the star of Venus, will begin to sing in sacred language to do the work we have asked. That is how the army of the word creates by means of the verb. If any profane observer was to observe the heavens in those instants, he would see the planet Venus shining and glowing in an intensified and rare manner. The observer would simply be amazed on contemplating the original sparkle of Venus in those instants. The indigo-colored hierarchies of the star of Venus gave us the causal body, or body of will. They grant what we ask for, when karma allows it. However, if our petition is not granted, then Uriel will show the disciple the clock of destiny, and, in this case, we have no other option but to bow down our head before the verdict of the law. In the actual world, there is a great number of schools that try to accomplish these same miracles by mental force, without taking into account at all the approval of the Lords of Destiny. That is simply pure and legitimate black magic. The Christ mind works well with the law. Black mental waves do not arrive where they are sent, because a multitude of aerial elementals that trap and intercept their path exist in the subtle world. Innumerable forces, which divert or disintegrate destructive mental waves, also exist in space. Therefore, evil waves can only cause harm when the victim does not know how to love nor forgive. Mental energy is absolutely deficient when it does not work with the energy of the inner self. The miracle worker utilizes mental energy, but uniting it with the inner self. That is the wise mind. The miracle worker works only with the divine powers of his inner angel and his Christ mind. The saintly masters of the White Brotherhood cooperate with the magician and his Christ mind. The sidereal genii perform their miracles with the ray of justice when the magician officiates on the altar of the Lion of the Law. Let us now enter the exercises of Taurus. During this month, the following exercise is done. Exercise. The disciple should sit on a comfortable chair. Close your eyes, remove all thought from your mind, make yourself a little drowsy, and then focus your mind inwards, towards the inner self, praying like this. Prayer. My Father, now transport yourself to the principal star of Taurus, enter through the doors of the heart temple making the salutes which you already know, and beg the sidereal genie and his angels of that star to condescend and come to me, so that they may prepare me and cure my larynx. Then, already sleepy, the disciple should imagine seeing light accumulated in his head now descending to his throat, while he pronounces the word Aum with the vowel A. He imagines the light descending from his head to his throat. With the vowel O he will imagine the light flooding his throat, and with the vowel M, the disciple will exhale the breath as if expiring the refuse that resides in his throat. This mantra is pronounced 4 times. I will warn my disciple that the salutes as I have described them when I spoke of Venus, along with the passwords Jachin and Boaz, apply to all the stars in the sky. Therefore, the genii of the constellation of Taurus will personally come to awaken the powers of the larynx, and if the disciple has any laryngeal illness, he can ask of these genii of Taurus to be cured, and they will cure him. The disciple will also be able to take advantage of these powers to heal others. The disciple should daily vocalize the vowel A, like this, A, for 1 hour. The vibratory sound of this vowel will awaken the power of the occult ear in him. The vowel A causes the thyroid gland, which is the center of the magical ear, to vibrate. The vowel A also develops clairvoyance of the mental body in us. The vowel A makes the mental body vibrate, and gives us conceptual synthetism, and the power to penetrate the intimate sense of words. Gemini. From the 21 of May to the 21 of June. Rules: arms, shoulders, lungs and bronchial system. Metal, mercury. Stone, golden beryl. Perfume, mastic. Plant, honeysuckle. Flower, chrysanthemum. Planet, Mercury. Color, orange and brilliant yellow. Element, air. Keyword, reason. Day, Wednesday. Ruler, Raphael. Beloved disciple. You have already practiced the exercises of Taurus. Now, we enter the brilliant constellation of Gemini. This sign governs the arms, lungs and legs and is essentially of Mercurian nature. Gemini is the house of Mercury. The metal of this sign is mercury. The stone is the golden beryl, and the color, yellow. The lords of Mercury are already teaching mankind how to travel in the astral body. The disciple is inevitably concerned with learning how to travel in the astral body. The authentic mystery schools are found in the astral plane. That is why it is necessary for the disciple to learn how to live in the astral body. It is necessary for the student to learn how to enter those sanctuaries of inner instruction, to receive direct instruction from the masters of the Great White Lodge. The time has arrived when students have to learn how to enter those sanctuaries of the astral, at will to receive direct teachings from the great instructors. The hour to abandon theories and to go directly to what is practical has arrived. The lords of Mercury help all those who ask for help. In the future era, man will no longer be locked up in the body as in a prison cell. The human body will become a comfortable and luxurious temple. Man will learn to enter and leave it any time he wants to. Mercury is actually coming out of a cosmic night, but as time passes by, the cosmic effects of the sparkle of Mercury will be felt more intensely each time. It is also indispensable that the disciple learns to enter through the doors of those sidereal temples in the astral body. The main exercises of Gemini have as objective to learn the use and maneuver of the astral body. In this sign, we also teach our disciples the secret art of the jinn states that will allow them to carry their physical bodies to the most secluded and remote places of the earth in a few instants. We will give various clues in a numerical form. First, the disciple should lie on his bed in a horizontal position. Relax the body so that no muscle applies pressure on the astral body. Become drowsy pronouncing the mantram Rusti. This mantram is pronounced mentally. In those instants, the student should become a spy of his own sleep. When the student already finds himself in that state of drowsiness or somnolence that precedes sleep, he should get out of bed and leave the room. How? In what manner? Almost all students suppose that it is an exercise of magnetism or autosuggestion, etc. But they are lamentably mistaken, because here we are not dealing with autosuggestion or hypnotisms. Simply get out of bed, for nature will do the rest. She will know how to separate the astral body from the physical body. The disciple merely needs to stand up and leave his room, for nature will do the rest. Already out of his room, the student will take a little hop with the intention of floating in space, and if he floats, he will then be able to transport himself to the Gnostic Church in a few seconds. But if he does not float, the disciple should once again get into bed and repeat the experiment. Some succeed immediately, others take months and even years to learn. But the tenacious succeeds in the end. 2. In an almost imperceptible manner, a keynote always resounds within the brain of every living being. That keynote is that of the ray to which each person belongs, and seems to come from the cells of the cerebellum. Some hear the sound of small flutes of the Egyptian ray, others will hear the gong of the Oriental ray, others the roaring of the sea, of the lunar ray, etc. If the disciple silences all his thoughts in the calm of the night, he will hear his keynote. Then he can cause that note to vibrate loudly, with will, and when the note is already so loud that it invades and semi-paralyzes the entire physical body, the disciple should get out of bed and betake himself to the Gnostic Church, for the masters of the White Brotherhood will receive him there with incomparable happiness. 3. If you find yourself dreaming that you are at a certain place, and you awaken, then do not move, become sleepy once again, with your imagination set on the aforementioned place, feeling yourself there again as if trying to continue the dream just as it was unfolding, while you cling to that place of the dream with thy will. Imagination and will, united in vibrant harmony, is the key to this clue. For at the time of falling asleep, concentrate thy imagination, and thy will intensely, united in vibrant harmony, on a certain place or location. Concentration should be perfect, and then begin walking with faith in the imagined place. You should not imagine that you are imagining, because the experiment will then fail. One should really feel oneself at the imagined place and totally forget the bedroom. This experiment should be done during the state of transition between vigil and sleep, and once at that place, kneel and ask thy own internal God to take you to the Holy Gnostic Church, which is the great cathedral of the soul, and the temple in which the solar logos, our Lord, the Christ, officiates. 5. Keeping in mind that the soul wanders in all the familiar places or locations during ordinary sleep, and that in the state of drowsiness it is occupied in the same trades and toils of the day, you should become accustomed to asking yourselves during the entire day, where am I? Am I within the body or out of it? Then you will take a little hop with the intention of floating. It is logical that if you float, it is because you are out of the body, and if you do not float, it is because you are still in flesh and bones and continue your path. But if you manage to float, ask your inner self to take you to the Holy Gnostic Church. One should ask this question in the presence of something which attracts his or her attention, such as a crowd of people, a funeral procession, a strange object, etc. Many have awakened their consciousness with this formidable clue, because on asking this question, they floated in the air and realized that they were out of the body, and that the body had been left asleep in bed. It is because the soul wanders when the body sleeps. But the soul can come out of its unconscious drowsiness with this clue. During the day, you should become accustomed to this exercise so that it be recorded in the subconscious and act during sleep. 6. Before falling asleep in your bed, you will do the following exercise of autosuggestion. I am going to sleep. Wherever I appear now is because I am in the astral body. I will recognize myself, I will recognize myself, I will recognize myself, and will direct myself to the Gnostic Church. You can do this autosuggestion for half an hour, and then peacefully fall asleep. In the astral, you will mathematically recognize yourself, and at the time of awakening, do not move. Do a retrospective exercise to remember where you have been. Put yourself to sleep pronouncing the mantram, Om Nis Bahom Egneos, and praying to thy inner self to take thee out of the body. Then softly get out of your bed and floating in space, go to the Gnostic Church. These are the 7 clues to travel in the astral body. When the theurgist leaves the physical body, he travels to the sidereal temples in the following manner. The astral body begins to walk in the form of concentric circles, with the intention of reaching the heart temple of a specific star. The panorama of things change in a few instants. The theurgist is in the presence of the sidereal temple, and the guardians of the columns J and B. The theurgist will make the strictly required salutes as we have taught in the previous pages, take the 7 steps inside the heart temple of the star, and will then kneel at the feet of the sidereal genie. If the genie says, "Granted," the disciple asks for choir, the genie will make a sign, and the army of the verb will begin to sing in sacred language to carry out the work that we have asked for. The army of the verb creates with the word. In these sublime moments we go into ecstasy. Entire nature kneels before the sidereal gods, and their ineffable canto elevates us to the plethora of light. The most divine and moving melodies saturate the infinite spaces, and the waters of the rivers murmur in silence. God is like this. It is impossible to describe those instants of happiness in which the soul is loose. There, the past and the future harmonize into an eternal now, and we then feel the voice of the blessed who invites us to the eternal wedding from the most profound bottom of our being. When the disciple is already skilled in astrotheurgy, the sidereal gods then accept him as a lay brother, and give him a gray-colored robe and a rod. It is the robe of the esoteric astrologer. It is the ineffable robe of the theurgist. It is the robe of the authentic alchemist. As he progresses in his wisdom, he receives different degrees. There, the disciple will learn how to combine the most diverse alchemical substances to produce different events in the different cosmic planes. One is overwhelmed on contemplating those child genii of the stars, working in the alchemical laboratories of their temples to provoke the most diverse events of the physical plane. Samael, the worker of iron, working in the forges of Mars. Anael, the genie of love and art, within his laboratory of love, appears like a boy of 12 years, blonde-haired and rosy cheeks, on the star of Venus. Michael, indescribable and ineffable, governing creation from the heart of the sun. Which of you has the courage to descend in that abyss, in the bottom of which life of the solar system throbs? Raphael, the genie of Mercury, he looks like an old man with a long beard and his face, the color of fire. He has the trident of the transforming atoms in his hand, and there, within his temple of Mercury, he resembles a terrible monarch causing the cosmic mind to tremble. Who would dare disobey his sacred orders? Who is the other one of white robe and white cape, before whom the columns of angels and demons tremble? See him in the temple of Jupiter, giving the scepter to kings and directing the economy of men. He is Zachariel, the genie of Jupiter, before whom tyrants tremble. In the center of the pale moon is the temple of Gabriel, the fisherman. He directs the life of the oceans and the tears of women. Do you want to learn how to make thyself invisible? Call him night after night so that he may prepare thy body. Make Gabriel a daily devotion. A well-prepared physical body is the most extraordinary instrument for the exercise of practical magic. A well-prepared body can become invisible. Neither a bullet nor a dagger enters a well-prepared body. What shall we now say about the old man of heaven, the Lord of the law, the old Orpheus? O Saturn! You are the sword of justice which reaches us from heaven. In your hands is the life and estate of all humans. Listen to me well, disciple, always choose the planet you are going to work with. Mars is warlike. Venus, amorous. Mercury, wise. Saturn, melancholic and concrete. The moon, motherly. The sun, leader. Jupiter, lord of high personages. Never enter any of these dwellings without first knocking at the door. Black magicians assault the mansions of heaven. The white magicians first knock at the door. The door of each star is the heart temple. Intruding visitors enter the stars like thieves in someone else's house. The sons of light enter through the door of the heart temple. The sons of light first ask permission of the Lord of the house to visit his abode. The heart temple of a star is the door of entrance and exit of the star. Our earth also has a heart temple. That temple is the abode of the genie of the earth. Visitors from other stars enter and leave through it. Do you know who the genie of the earth is? He is our Lord, the Christ. Our earth is a small bright star of blue color, belonging to the Milky Way. In my Father's house there are many mansions. Each star of heaven is an abode, and the door of each celestial abode is the heart temple. When out of the body you invoke an inhabitant of another planet, you will see him come out from within the earth, and on saying goodbye to you, you will see him sink into the depths of the earth. He has entered and left through the door of the interior of the earth. You can also invoke your physical body from afar. You will kneel on the earth and pray to your inner self like this: Father, bring my body. Then, thy inner self wilt bring thee thy physical body. The atoms of your physical body will tell you, I am your physical body, don't you know me? You will be astonished when you see thine own physical body in sleeping clothes, face to face, the same as you left it in bed. Then command thy physical body thus: Jump over my head and penetrate through my pineal gland. The physical body will obey you, and you will be with your physical body in any remote place of the earth. If someone was to enter your room in those instants, he or she would not find you. He or she would only find your empty bed. It is indispensable to take your physical body to the Gnostic Church every Friday and Sunday at dawn to receive the Gnostic Holy Unction in flesh and bone. You can also take the physical body from the very bed without the need of invoking it from afar. Fall asleep vocalizing the following mantrams: Mina Pica Frasco. Then slowly get out of thy bed, conserving your sleep. Execute a little hop, and if you see thyself chubby and floating, then leave your house, and betake thyself towards the Gnostic. The forces of the subconscious become activated during sleep, and these powerful energies are precisely the ones which allow us to place our physical body within the astral plane. This is what is called the jinn state. The sublime Guru Huiracocha, Master Arnold Krumhelter, talks to us about the jinn states in his Rosicrucian novel. Wise Krumhelter describes to us a Commander Montenero receiving a note from a Hugir or servant. Commander Montenero sighed and said at last. Then he left the castle of Chapultepec, and going around and around on the path of the mountain of Chapultepec, he whistled many times. A native then led Commander Montenero to the temple of Chapultepec. Is this a phenomenon of the fourth dimension? Asked the commander. Yes, my commander, the uninitiated does not become aware of these things, answered the native. Thus, with his body in the jinn state, Montenero received his initiation. All the works of the renowned Krumheller, Huiracocha, are a well of initiatic wisdom that very few have comprehended. Now, remaining with us is his son Parsival Krumheller, who sincerely rejoiced with us when he studied our works titled, The Perfect Matrimony, and The Revolution of Bel. Parsival faithfully follows the wise path of his father. The most profound initiatic wisdom of the centuries is enclosed in the zodiacal course of Huiracocha. Gemini is an air sign, and is the house of Mercury. The lords of Mercury gave man the soul spirit, or Buddhic body. The color of the hierarchies of Mercury is yellow, or golden yellow. Gemini, or the sign of the twins, reminds us of the twin souls. The first woman that man knew in Eden is his twin soul. The twin souls keep meeting each other, life after life. Together they came out of Eden, and together they should return to Eden. When karma separates them, they suffer the inexpressible. True happiness in marriage can only be possible between two twin souls. When the marriage does not take place with the twin soul, it is a karmic marriage, and one suffers the inexpressible. The natives of Gemini are of a strong will, possess great courage, are versatile, and like to travel. Their lives are a mixture of successes and failures. At times they live in comfort, and at other times must endure much misery. They are very intelligent and become church irritated very easily. The defect of the natives of Gemini is that they try to solve all things with their heads. They always want to silence the wise voice of the heart and then create problems and difficulties of all types. The exercises of Gemini are the following. Exercise. The disciple should lie horizontally on his bed, relax his body, and take 5 breaths of air with the intention that light now penetrates his lungs and bronchi. He will open his arms and legs with each inhalation, and will close them with each exhalation. Then, seated on a comfortable chair, he will ask his inner self to betake himself to the constellation of Gemini to bring the sidereal gods of those temples so that they will prepare his organism for practical magic. Cancer. From the 22 of June to the 22 of July. Rules: the stomach. Metal: silver. Stone: pearl. Perfume: camphor. Plant: eucalyptus, cherry tree and the violet. Flower: white rose. Planet: the moon. Color: silver. Element: water. Keyword: fecundation. Day: Monday. Ruler: Gabriel. Beloved disciple, you have already studied and practiced the lesson of Gemini. Today we enter the constellation of Cancer. Throughout thy studies, thou hast realized that we, the Gnostics, are essentially practical. We frankly do not like to spend our lives theorizing. We get down to brass tacks. We are tired of so much theory. We are essentially realistic. We want deeds, not theories nor morbid intelligences. We like effective realities. We head towards great realizations. All the spiritualist schools talk to you about supersensible worlds, but we go beyond that because we are more practical. We teach our disciples how to enter those worlds in the astral body, and even with the very body of flesh and bone, in a totally conscious and positive manner. This entering of the physical body into the ultrasensible worlds appears to be strange to the theorists, because they know nothing else but how to theorize, but to the comprehensive, this does not seem strange. It is, of course, as old as the world. In not too remote times, the physical body moved and developed within the astral world, so what? After this short preamble, let us enter in full into our present lesson of Cancer. Cancer is the house of the moon. Its metal is silver, its stone, the pearl, and white, its color. The moon influences the thymus gland and regulates the growth of the human being. The moon influences all the milky juices of all living things. The moon adjusts the procreation of all that is alive. The moon governs the sap in vegetables and the rising and ebbing tides of the seas. The moon has power over salt, and salt is the base of all that is alive. Existing within our organism are 12 salts of the 12 zodiacal signs. Cancer is the sign of the sacred scarab. Cancer is the sign of reproduction. Fetal conception is verified with the rays of the sign of Cancer, and because of it, is the sign of the sacred scarab. In Egypt, the sacred scarab symbolizes the soul. The reincarnating souls pass through the sphere of Cancer before taking a body. Cancer produces the sickness that carries its name. Cancer is the karma of fornicators. The moon is the symbol of a secret planet that lies behind it. The violet hierarchies of the heart temple of the moon gave man his vital body. The moon is inhabited on the side that is not seen. The Helenites are the most vulgar and laggard beings of our earth. There was a need to confine them there. Almost all the inhabitants of that city are women. These beings are neither good nor bad, but simply laggards. As they evolve, they are given a body here on earth once again, and at last, they will all have a body again. Another small moon called Lilith by astronomers also exists. Lilith is the black moon. The souls that have already totally separated themselves from their superior ego formed by Atman Buddhi. Manas go there. Those souls are of an indescribable perversity, and there, have to go through the second death to which the Apocalypse refers, and of which the Christ spoke to us about. In her 6th volume of The Secret Doctrine, HPB refers to the Avicii and the second death. The Bhagavad Gita talks to us about the abyss also, but it was enough for us to talk about this topic, for the spiritualists of Colombia to laugh at us. I have never said that my physical person is occupied in confining the perverse souls in the abyss. This would be out of tone, since I am a man like any other. God is the only one who has those powers. Marvels of that nature are only done by Atman, the great universal spirit of life, Alaya, the super soul of Emerson, the great soul of the world. These marvels have only been done by my internal God, my Purusa, my superior being, my inner self, my internal master, my monad, my internal angel, before whom I have to kneel, because he is Atman, the ineffable. This can also be done by the internal God of any of thee, because Atman is the omnipotent and the ineffable. Masters are many, but the soul master is one, the soul of the world, the divine Alaya that seems to be many. Samael Aun Weor is the authentic name of a flame of the great blaze, before whom I must prostrate myself. Samael Aun Weor means will of God, and the will of God is what has written this work. Therefore, when we talk of Avicii, we do not say anything new. Almost all the better spiritualists comment, describe, mention it. So what? Spiritualists grieve deeply that Atman, the great universal spirit of life, is acting through one of his flames to accomplish a cosmic mission. Yes, so and so are amazed, because ignorance in its bold simplicity is a Celestine beggar, with whom one cannot have immaculate contact. Where is the wisdom of all those fools who criticize me? What became of it? The Avicii is a very old subject. Even the very Dr. E. Adown, Mago Haifa, talks to us about the second death in Lazarza de Oreb. So what? In ancient times, the totally separated personalities from the divine triad, Atman Buddhi Manas, remained in the Avicii of our earth. See the 6th volume of The Secret Doctrine of HPB. Today, the times have changed. We are beginning the new Aquarian age, and we have to isolate from this terrestrial globe those personalities that are already separated from their divine triads to cleanse the atmosphere of all evil. That is all. If this is reason for mockery on the part of lecture hall spiritualists and occasional readers, whose fault is it? When the bridge called Antakarana, which communicates the divine triad with his inferior eye, is broken, then the inferior eye is left separated, and is sunk in the abyss of destructive forces, where it disintegrates little by little. This is the second death of which the Apocalypse talks to us about, that is, the state of consciousness called Avicii. In these cases, the divine triad, Atman Buddhi Manas, is clothed with a new mental and astral body to continue its evolution, and the discarded personality is submerged in the state of Avicii, into the most inexpressible suffering. All the moons of the solar system are governed by Jehovah, but our terrestrial satellite is directly governed by the angel Gabriel. The magician should pay close attention to the lunar influences, because all the sidereal energies crystallize in our terrestrial globe through the lunar forces. All that is began during the crescent moon progresses quickly. All that is done in the waning moon fails. The new moon is very weak and the full moon is very strong and serves to carry out all works of practical magic successfully. The last day of the moon means abortions and failures. Always do your business in crescent moon so that you may succeed. Hitler launched himself on Russia in the waning moon and failed. When a star shines within a nimbus of the moon, it is a sign that a general is surrounded by enemies. The moon produces the rising and ebbing of the sea. The moon produces high and low tides. The moon attracts and repels the terrestrial magnetism. The magician should prepare his body for the exercise of practical magic. The magician's body is different from others because it is prepared. Exercise. Sit on a comfortable chair, close thy eyes, remove all thought from thy mind, focus the mind on thy inner self and pray like this. Father, you who art my true being, I beg you, Lord, to enter the heart temple of the moon to bring me the angel Gabriel. Do the salutes, my Lord, Amen. Then, direct thyself to the 4 cardinal points, and perform the following invocation of the angel Gabriel, blessing the north, south, east and west. Invocation. 13,000 rays has the sun, 13,000 rays has the moon, 13,000 times may the enemies I have repent. The disciple will pray to the angel Gabriel to prepare his body to become invisible or to transform his face, stop a bullet or knife in a moment of danger, or to materialize any Superior entity, Lamblichus, the great theurgist, made the sidereal gods visible in the physical world because he had his body well prepared. The angel Gabriel will occultly treat the spleen and certain centers of the spinal column in the disciple. When the latter can already make visible and tangible the angel Gabriel in the physical plane, it is because his body is prepared. Then, in a moment of danger, he will do the invocation of the angel Gabriel, and if the disciple wants to become invisible, the angel Gabriel will erase him from the sight of the enemies, or will transform his face if the disciple so desires. The invocation will always be done blessing. The 4 cardinal points. These exercises, to prepare the body, are practiced our entire lifetime. When the theurgist has his body well prepared, he can make the sidereal gods visible in the physical plane. This requires patience and perseverance, because nothing is obtained like a gift. Everything costs struggle and sacrifice. The forces that descend from heaven, on arriving at our thymus gland, meet the forces that ascend through our organism from the earth, and there, in the thymus gland, the 2 triangles of the superior and inferior forces interlace to form the seal of Solomon. Exercise. Seated, imagine this marvelous encounter of the cosmic forces forming the seal of Solomon at the thymus gland, and sunk in profound inner meditation, pray to thy inner self to enter the sidereal temple of the principal star of Cancer, to bring thee the principal hierarchies of that constellation, so that they may awaken thy inner powers, and give that gland a treatment. Vocalize the letter A 1 hour daily. The natives of Cancer are peaceful, but too wrathful at times. They have an aptitude for manual arts, are very sensible, and their character changes with the lunar phases. Things go well for them on long journeys. They are very romantic, amorous, and very tenacious. Leo. From the 23 of July to the 22 of August. Rules: heart and spinal column. Metal, gold. Stone, diamond. Perfume, incense. Plant, sunflower. Flower, poppy. Planet, the sun. Color, golden. Element, fire. Day, Sunday. Key word, life. Ruler, Michael. Beloved disciple. Today we enter the constellation of Leo. Leo is the heart of the zodiac, and the throne of the sun. Leo is the dwelling of the sons of the flame, whom the Bible calls thrones. Leo is the house of the Kamaras. Leo is the house of the sun and governs our heart. Just as the sun is the heart of the solar system, so is the human heart the sun of our organism also. The forces that descend and those that rise from the earth, in the form of a triangle, meet at the heart, mingle, and become redeemed, forming the seal of Solomon. The heart is the sacred chamber of the blessed mother goddess of the world. The ineffable princess of the Kundalini, Hadit, the winged serpent of the desert, reaches as far as there. The cross of initiation is given to us in the heart temple. The Kundalini is the laboratory where the heart works. The fires of the heart serve as control to the fires of the spine. The Kundalini rises according to the merits of the heart. The Kundalini evolves and progresses within the aura of the solar logos. The heart is the most sensitive organ of our organism. The most remote seismic movements of the world are registered within the fine membranes of the heart. The heart is the sacred temple of the inner master. The inner master speaks to us in the form of hunches. If man obeyed those hunches, he would live without problems. Man rebels against the voice of the inner master and creates problems for himself. There are two men in us that live in eternal struggle, one against the other. There is a celestial man and an animal man in us. The animal man wants to solve things on his own and act as he likes best. The celestial man talks in the form of hunches. His voice is the voice of silence and his actions are always upright and create happiness. The animal man is the mind that resides in the head with its 7 portals. The celestial man is the inner master. The master commands and the mind does not obey him. It wants to solve everything on its own and act as it likes best, without at all taking the orders of the internal master into consideration. As a consequence of this, pain and bitterness appear, which are the result of erred action and useless efforts. Happy are those who act with the voice of silence. They will never lack bread, shelter, and refuge. They shall live without problems and will have bliss. Coachmen, dominate the untamed colt of the mind properly, so that it will not cast your cart to the abyss. The inner master is the divine witness, seated on the throne of the heart temple. The inner essence of the master is absolute happiness and limitless omniscience. The inner master is simple. Everything else is compound. Eternal nature keeps changing, but the inner master is immutable, and because of this, the master can free himself from nature. Nature casts its shadows on the master, but the inner master is beyond all shadow. When the soul fuses with the inner master, then it becomes free from nature, and enters the supreme happiness of absolute existence. That state of happiness is called nirvana. One arrives at nirvana through millions of births and deaths, but is also reached by means of a shorter path, the path of initiation. The initiate reaches nirvana in one single life if he so wants it. Narrow is the door and narrow the path that leads to light, and very few are those who find it. 7 initiatic sanctuaries exist in the astral plane, and if the disciple wants to progress in this path, he has to seek a master. When the disciple is ready, the master appears. Be careful of false prophets. Do not accept external masters in the physical plane. Learn to live in the astral body, and when you are skillful in the astral, choose an authentic master of greater mysteries of the White Brotherhood, and consecrate to him the most absolute devotion and the most profound respect. You should walk with much care in the physical world, since there are many false prophets. Do not accept external orders from anyone. Thou should only obey the orders that we give thee in the astral plane. There are many initiates of lesser mysteries in the physical plane, good and sincere, but they have not yet fused with their inner master. They are also living dead and consequently have serious and very grievous errors, which can lead the student astray, and even make him fall into the abyss. When we want to make ourselves known to a student in the physical plane, we will give him signs and proofs in the astral plane, but be careful, live alert and vigilant as the guard in times of war and deceiving wonders. Be simple like the dove and shrewd as a serpent. Be meek and humble, but when it regards the truth, be strong in thought, word and deed. The higher thou art, the more terrible the fall shall be. Be careful then from falling, because the disciple who allows himself to fall, then has to struggle much to recover what has been lost. These 2 rules are very simple, but of terrible importance. I have known many initiates in the lesser mysteries, who have known and accepted false prophets of the physical plane, and then fell into the terrible abyss. I teach the student how to travel in the astral body, so that he will not allow himself to be deceived. The student allows himself to be deceived because he does not know how to travel in the astral. Anyone who tries to ridicule our sacred temples and our sacred initiations is still a living dead person. Do not listen to him, he is dangerous. There are people who think they can reach nirvana without going through any initiation. Such living dead people follow the spiral path of life, and only through millions of lives and deaths will they truly reach nirvana. But there are other living dead people who want to rapidly fuse themselves with their inner self, and nevertheless, try to mock our sacred initiations. This kind of living dead people are the most dangerous, because they have tread the path, and are mocking the path. These are the offenders of Victor Hugo. These are the defilers of the temple. To want to rapidly become fused with the inner self without having passed through the 9 initiations of lesser mysteries is akin to wanting to receive a doctor's degree in medicine without having studied all the required years at university, or like wanting to be a general without having passed through all the military ranks. All initiations are received in the temples of the astral plane, but the school is life itself. During the sign of Leo, we should act on the heart through meditation. Inner meditation consists of 3 phases. 1. Perfect concentration. 2. Perfect meditation. 3. Perfect samadhi. One has to concentrate the mind on the inner master. One has to meditate on the majesty of the inner master. One has to talk with the inner master, until one hears his voice and converses ineffable things with him. This is called samadhi. Concentration is one technique. On page 17, in the Voice of the Silence, HPB says the following, and I quote, Before the soul can hear, the image, man, has to become as deaf to roarings as to whispers, to cries and bellowing elephants as to the silvery buzzing of the golden firefly. Before the soul can comprehend and may remember, she must unto the silent speaker be united, just as the form to which the clay is modeled is first united with the potter's mind. For then the soul will hear, and will remember. And then to the inner ear speak the voice of the silence. So then, we should especially practice inner meditation during this sign of Leo. I advise my disciples to practice inner meditation during those instants in which they feel more predisposed to sleep. You should totally dominate the untamed horse of the mind. You should control all possible reactions of the mind before the objects and sounds of the physical world. The inner master is not the mind. The inner master is not emotion. The inner master is not the will. The inner master is not the conscience nor the intelligence. The inner master is the divine witness. The inner master is the being. The inner master is the inner self. Therefore, while sunk in deep inner meditation, say, not this, not this, not this. I am he, I am he, I am he. Be demanding with thy inner master. He should teach thee the most ineffable things. If thy concentration is intense, then thou shalt penetrate in the marvels of the cosmos, and will learn things which are impossible to describe with words. Vocalize daily the vowel O during this sign of Leo, to awaken the heart chakra. A secret planet from which emanates the life of all that throbs in the physical plane, exists between the Sun and Mercury. The blue hierarchies of the Sun are the fountain of all life. The natives of Leo are energetic and generous at the same time, magnanimous, mystics and authoritarians. They have a tendency towards anger, and should struggle much to dominate that defect. Leo, being the throne of the Sun, announces fortune and high position. The occult significance of Leo is intuition. Gold is the metal of this sign and diamond, its stone. The natives of Leo are authoritative and want to command only. Leo brings some journeys. The natives of Leo suffer a great deal morally. Virgo. From the 23 of August to the 22 of September. Rules, the intestines and lower abdomen. Metal, mercury. Stone, the emerald. Perfume, white sandalwood. Plant, the elm. Flower, the morning glory. Planet, Mercury. Color, yellow. Element, earth. Key word, reason. Day, Wednesday. Ruler, Raphael. Beloved disciple. Today we fully enter the constellation of Virgo, house of Mercury and exile of Venus. The ancient sages divided the zodiacal belt in 10 signs only, since Virgo and Scorpio were esoterically considered one single sign. Virgo, the sign of the celestial Virgin, and Scorpio, the sign of the sexual forces, together, are really that marvelous Eden the Bible talks to us about. This is the paradise of virgin men. This is the paradise of the perfect androgyne. This is the Eden the Bible talks about. Eden is sex itself. Come to us all those who thirst, and we shall give thee the eternal water of life to drink. Come to us all weary pilgrims of life, and we shall heal thy wounds. Sons of the earth. Listen to thy instructors, the sons of the fire. In this delightful garden of Virgo and Scorpio, the 7 serpents of fire are awaiting to initiate thee in their great mysteries. Ask and it shall be given thee, knock and it shall be opened. Look, my son. Here is the seal of the heart. To those who visit our white island we shall give thee 3 glasses to drink, 3 delicious arcanes. One is green as the emerald. It is the sexual force of the Virgin Mother, Isis, nature. The other is as blue as the sky. It is the sexual force of the kingdom of the spirit. The other is like the dew of the leaves in the night. It is the sexual force of the absolute. Ineffable. Only to those who have thirst shall we give these 3 arcanes of Eden, so that they may awaken their 7 serpents. Those who drink from our 3 glasses will never thirst again, and rivers of pure water will flow from their abdomens. Why do the natives of Virgo suffer? Why do they cry? Why are they not happy in love? All sins shall be forgiven, except the sins against the Holy Spirit. The natives of Virgo suffer because they committed adultery and fornication in past lives. The natives of Virgo suffer great amorous deceptions. In Virgo, Mercury becomes reasoning. Reason is of the animal soul. The animal soul is the mind. The mind is the cave of desire. One cannot kill desire without taking it out of its cave, of its den. Imagine a tranquil lake. If you were to throw a stone in that lake, thou would see a series of waves coming from the center to the periphery. Take that same image to the mind. All of a sudden you will see a pornographic image. That image passes from the senses to the lake of thy mind. The latter then reacts with its waves before the external impact, and its waves then knock strongly on our sexual organs, producing sexual excitement that is consumed in copulation. Subdue the senses and dominate the mind so that you may not react before external impacts. The den of the beast of desire is in the mind. The great intellectuals are terribly passionate, vicious and fornicating beings. They have developed the mind, and the mind is the animal soul. When we move under the direction of the material mind or animal soul in the physical world, then we create problems for ourselves. We stay imprisoned, suffering the inexpressible. The man who acts only under hunches is happy, will never lack bread, shelter and refuge, will never have problems. Virgo rules over the abdomen. The forces that rise from the earth, on arriving at the stomach, are charged with adrenal hormones which prepare and purify them for their ascent to the heart. Virgo works on the isles of Langerhans which secrete insulin, so necessary for the treatment of diabetes. In the zodiacal course of Master Huiracocha, we are taught that we should give small jumps to the stomach during this sign, so that the energies that rise from the earth be charged in the stomach with adrenal hormones. One should be lying in a horizontal position. The fundamental zodiacal exercises that we give here come from the ancient temples of mysteries and, therefore, are not the exclusive patrimony of anyone. However, we must be grateful to the great guru Arnold Krumheller, Huiracocha, who had collected and investigated them, to make them known to us in his marvelous zodiacal course. During the zodiacal sign of Virgo, thou should vocalize the vowel daily to develop the telepathic center of the solar plexus, like this, ooh 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 ooh. During 1 hour daily. Sit in a comfortable chair, focus thy mind on thy inner self, and ask him to betake himself to the heart temples of the stars of Virgo, so that he may bring the gods of Virgo to thy house, so that they may awaken thy virgin powers and heal thy stomach. Be assured, beloved reader, that the sidereal gods will attend thy call. Thy inner self can enter and leave the body anytime he wants, and due to this, he is not enslaved in the body. He will really enter the sidereal temples, do the necessary salutes, as I have taught thee in the first lessons, and will bring the sidereal gods to thy side, to prepare thy body. The planets move, evolve and progress within the conscience. The sidereal temples are within the conscience. Man is a zodiac, and the zodiacal belt is within the conscience. The 10 Sephiroths of the Kabbalah are the solar system. The 7 inferior Sephiroths are the 7 planets, and the crown of Kether, Chakma, and Bina are the trill spiritual sun. Those 10 Sephiroths are within us, and we should learn to manipulate them. We should learn how to transfer ourselves to the different stars to know the horoscope of people. Conversing with the sidereal gods, we will know our horoscope without the need for the so-touted arithmetic astrology. Arithmetic astrology was for the Black Age. The age of astrotheurgy has now arrived. We need to learn the sparkle of the stars, manipulating it to heal the sick. One has to learn to work over the earth from the sidereal temples. We have to learn how to work over the earth from the 12 zodiacal signs. The era of Aquarius has arrived, and a new lineage reigns. The era of the Superman has arrived. The Earth is a small blue star. The inhabitants of other planets of the solar system, when born under the influence of our planet Earth, are mystics by nature and love sacrifice and altruism. They suffer much in their lives and feel much love for all that is alive, but the black magicians of the bright blue star, called Earth, are extremely perverse and evil.